Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do basic crimping. This is the first type of project that you would normally do when you start beading, and that's just straight stringing stuff on here onto the soft flex beading wire. And I always recommend that you use soft flex and no other kind, because the other kinds break and they crack sometimes in the middle here in places like that. The only way this is going to break is if you don't crimp it correctly, and that's why I'm going to show you how to do it. So for this, I pretty much pre-strung this necklace. I have a few beads just to show you, and we have 2 tube crimps, an extender chain, and a hook, which is what I really love using because it's really easy to use, and you can do it if nobody else is around to help you put your jewelry on. So I'm going to go ahead and finish stringing this, and I'm just going to keep following my pattern. And I'm just going to put the beads on. And I'm going to finish with the piece of sterling silver ball. And you'll notice that I have a sterling silver ball on both ends. And any type of beading project I do, I always end with a piece of metal. So it could be a plated ball, it could be gold filled, it doesn't matter what material it is, but just always use a little ball like this at the end. So now I'm going to go ahead and put my crimp on. And then I'm going to put one end of my closure. So I'm going to go over the closure and back through the crimp and the little silver ball at the end. And at this point, the tension or the where the beading cord is doesn't matter. So now you're going to get your crimp tool, and if you notice, there's 2 different sections, one that looks like a half moon and one that's sort of oval shaped. You're going to hold that with the back, and you always use the half moon first. And what's going to happen is you're going to do your crimp. I always like to say it's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So you're going to start off by folding it in half, and then you're going to squish it together. And that's what you're going to do with this tool. You're going to put the crimp into that half moon shape, and down here you'll see there's like a little cup there for it, and it'll fit right into that cup. And just squish it. Now what it did is it made it into a half moon shape. So now you're going to turn your tool from crimping this way, you're going to turn it this way and put it at the top, in the top notch, and squish the 2 sides together like that. So you just closed your peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And then you can cut off the excess wire here. And you'll notice that I don't have a whole lot of excess wire, and that's because I used this as my bead stopper. A lot of times when you take a class, people will tell you to cut off a length of the wire and then either tape it or use a bead stopper or something like that. Well, you don't have to if you use this little thing that comes on there as your stopper. That way you don't waste wire, because now I know I didn't cut it too long, and I also know that I didn't cut it too short because I can adjust the length. But now I need to cut it off so I can add the crimp, and I just give myself a little bit of room here. So I slid all the beads down so they're pretty tight, and then I cut. I'm going to go ahead and I just cut it, and I'm going to go ahead and put the crimp on, and then this end of the closure, which in this case is going to be the extender chain. And you're just going to go over that extender chain and back through the crimp and the little silver ball and pull it down. And this is where it's going to matter. The kitty's talking to us too. This is where it's going to matter where the wire is, because you don't want all that extra wire showing. So you just pull it down, the crimp and the ball, you're going to pull down towards the beads, and while you hold the extender chain, you pull this excess piece. But give yourself enough room, enough slack, so that you can have control of that. And I'm going to push it down again and pull again. Now you're going to notice that there may still be room, and what in this case I let gravity do my work, and I hold it up like this and just sort of make sure all the beads fall down. And I don't have a whole lot of room there, but I have a little bit, so I'm going to pull that a little bit tighter. So now I'm going to get my crimp tool, and like I did before, start off with the bottom little half moon and squeeze. This time I turned the piece a quarter of an inch, a quarter of a turn, instead of turning the tool, but it'll give you the same effect because you want to close that peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So now I'm going to close it like that and cut off this excess. Sometimes you have that little, where you cut it off, a little bit showing, and I just try and tuck it into this bead right here. Right now I cut it pretty close so it's not showing, and then that way it's not going to scrape anybody. And finally, because I have an extender chain, I'm going to put a dangle at the end, and you can see that in some of my other tutorials. The wire looping is going to show you how to add a dangle at the end. And I'm not going to do that right now, but now I have a finished necklace that's crimped on both ends, and that's going to stay together and look gorgeous on my neck.